Hello everyone. Sorry, almost everybody was kicked out of the studio. So yeah, we're back and we'll be waiting for our executive while he finishes with what he's trying to do. He has been having little issues. He was having little issues after everybody got kicked out from the studio. We are live on YouTube. Don't forget to follow the YouTube. I'll post the YouTube link on our page here. In case you are finding difficult to join, you can join via the YouTube page. We are live on YouTube. And Mr. Leslie, welcome. In case you're having um, issues from your end, people joining, here's the above link. You can join our YouTube and be with us. We've been talking about H4H initiative, Hope for Hopeless initiative. We've been talking to a few volunteers that were in house, and I'm trying to send back the link to the ones that got kicked out as well. But regardless, for the fact you're here, you will you could still watch back on YouTube because we are live on YouTube. So we are streaming live. So in case of the few volunteers that missed this section, they can join via YouTube or watch via YouTube later on anytime they wish to know what's going on. So then again, Miss Chidera Jim, the executive manager at H4H, we're waiting for Mr. Victor to figure a little technical issue from his end and come back to the studio. But I'm sure he's here. Thank you for joining back Mbe and Tan Yu. Wow, these names. I hope I'm pronouncing it well. Thank you for joining back. So we'll just wait a moment, and I hope we all had everything Mr. Victor has been saying. Hi, are we here?
Hello,
Hello?
everyone. All right.
Yes, we're here.
Okay, can you all hear me now?
Yes, we can, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. I don't know at what point we all got kicked out, and I don't know how much you guys heard. So can someone maybe I don't know? Can someone tell us where I stopped if you remember? Does anyone remember where they last heard me? At what point did you last hear what I was saying?
You were talking on education. I don't know the word you were using. Why it's the thematics of what thing?
Oh yes.
Okay,
Thank you,
sorry, Sir
Barbara.
Victor. I
Yeah.
noticed that the YouTube also got kicked out. Can we start from beginning? Like just go through everything. Seems we're taking questions at the end of the meeting. So people who are watching now from YouTube or who are just entering the studio can understand and know what's going on. Please, sir.
All right. That's fine. I am going to share my slide again. So just give me a moment to do that. And can we all please be muted? Can we just mute our audio? Thank you. All right. So I'm going to just go back a bit and from the mission, I'll skip the introduction part. We don't have much, that we'll be discussing with you all today because this is just the very first meeting with you all as volunteers, right? So if you want to introduce yourself, please just use the chat box. Use the chat box to to do your introduction, and you can use the format. This is the format. So we want to know your name, your full names, of course, your country, that's where you are located presently. What do you do? What are you doing currently? Not what you're doing at the moment. That's what are you involved in, right? Two fun facts about yourself, something you're very passionate about, and why you want to be a volunteer at H4H initiative. All right, so please use this format. Introduce yourselves, use the chat box. If you're live on YouTube, use the comment section and introduce yourself, using this format. All right, so let's continue. So, as I was saying earlier, the mission of Hope for Hopeless Initiative is that we are dedicated towards improving the health, education, and livelihood of people living in underserved communities. We're focusing on the served communities because we believe that these persons, people living in these communities, are vulnerable. We refer to them as marginalized because they do not, um, they're not usually remembered. You know, there are a few corporate social organizations that visit these places, to give, right, and they are the ones who really need, all the help. They are the ones that we should be giving hope to at the end of the day, right? So we are focused on people living in underserved communities, and yeah, so our vision also is to give hope. So from the name Hope for Hopeless Initiative, we want to give hope to as many people, and again, focusing on underprivileged people. And we do this through charity donations, through development community projects, and of course through empowerment initiatives, right? We try to empower people. We try to develop their vocational skills. We support them, so that they can take control of their lives and of their communities. Okay, so that's the mission and vision of Hope for Hopeless Initiative. Before I continue, once again, my name is Mr. Victor Inzanwa Oji, right? And I am the executive manager at Hope for Hopeless Initiative. Okay, so let's move to the values of the organization. So there are a total of 7 values, and we came up with these values with all the intention that we thought possible, and these were very carefully thought through, and it was not done by one person or two persons, right? So there was a lot of contribution to bringing up these values. The first is passion. First is passion because we are passionate about our mission, right, which is improving the lives of people, and it motivates us to continue to learn, to continue to improve, and ultimately to accomplish our goals. Okay. Next is collaboration. We strive to forge very relevant and strategic relationships with individuals and organizations, right? Individuals, you guys are individuals, right? So we are bringing you all as volunteers, and that's because we value your contributions, okay? And we want to collaborate with you because we know we can't do it alone. And we understand that you guys would have a lot of skills, you guys would have a lot of expertise and knowledge, that can add value to the lives of people. And this collaboration would, enable us to continue to expand our reach and programs, right, and also be financially sustainable and be very effective at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, we want to continue to work with organizations who share similar values, similar goals with it for each initiative, and we can also learn from them. Yeah, so we're going to continue to learn. We're going to continue to understand how they approach their own projects. We'll learn from them, and we'll work together with them. Okay. So equality, which is the third value, at H4H initiative, we want to establish a very fair and equal opportunity for everyone, regardless of your gender, your race, or your religion, right? So we want to, make sure that everyone at every point is treated fairly and given equal opportunity. All right, so compassion, yeah, our ability to express compassion, helps us understand ourselves better and helps us feel empathy towards others. Okay, so because of our mission, it is important that we're able to show compassion to others, and this will help us, understand who we are as individuals and as an organization, and at the same time, we identify areas that we can support people. The next one is empowerment, right? If at any point you can't hear me, please, um, you can just unmute and let me know that you can't hear me, and I will make sure that I check with what problem is so that you all can hear me. And if I am speaking too fast, please do the same thing, and I will slow down a bit. Okay. And do not forget, we have a question and answer session at the end of this. But if at any point you have a question and you do not want to forget it, use the chat box or use the comment section and we'll respond to all your questions. All right, so let's continue. Empowerment. We empower people with basic skills and the capacity to take control of their lives and communities, right? When we say basic skills, it encompasses every every area. So it could be soft skills like how to adequately communicate their needs, how to adequately communicate and express themselves, right? It could be vocational skills. It could be how to ace or be successful at interviews, right? Some people they might have all the degree in the world, they might have aced their education, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, it is how you're able to communicate these achievements to the interviewer. So we try as much as possible to also educate people and empower people with all of this knowledge to be able to take control of their lives and of their communities. The next is diversity. Okay, so we prioritize and value the contribution and service of everybody. We do not look down on anyone. We do not um we will not undervalue you. We understand that every human is worthy, right? And there is a lot that you can bring to the table as an individual. Okay, so we prioritize and value your contribution, especially you all as volunteers coming into the organization. We want to let you know that we respect your contributions, we respect your opinions, and would appreciate your skills whenever there is a program or project that we are going to be doing together. Okay, and lastly, commitment. We are committed to fulfilling all our goals. So every now and then, at the beginning of every year, we would set down goals for the year. And the truth is, not many organizations at the end of the year get to achieve all their goals. And this could be as a result of financial constraints, could be as a result of time, it could be as a result of, human resources, right? It could also be as a result of, not being able to get to these places, these target locations, So we at H4H Initiative, we are very committed. We are very passionate about achieving all the set goals that we would lay down at the beginning of the year. And of course, with you guys, as volunteers, with your help and with your collaboration, we plan to always fulfill our goals at the end of the year. And we'll look back and we'll smile and recognize the value and efforts of everyone within the organization. Okay. So those are the values that we at H4H Initiative, want you all to embody. All these values. We want this to become a part of you. While you discharge your responsibilities as volunteers. And also whenever you find yourself, doing one project or the other with the organization. Now let's go to our focus areas as an organization. We have three major focus areas. This is we have health, education, and livelihood, right? And how do we approach these different areas? The first is health. So we have what we call health advocacy. We advocate for good policies around health. We advocate for good allocation of maybe funds, whatever it is, within the local level and maybe state level, as much as we can. That is what we want to try to involve ourselves with moving forward. We also have what we call behavioral change interventions, and would achieve this, both in schools and also through outreaches. That is out of school project, right? And these projects would focus on changing behaviors, changing perceptions, changing attitudes, to health. Some people know that HIV/AIDS exists, but they would still go ahead to practice unsafe sex, right? So these are things that we want to try to manage through these behavioral change interventions. So the next is community needs assessment. So through this, we want to be able to identify what the needs of the community, what the health needs rather of the community are before we, decide to carry out a project in that community. it would defeat the purpose of whatever it is that we want to do if we don't understand what the needs of a community are. We do not want to be doing one thing and they need something else. So, for example, if the issue in the community is that malaria has ravaged that community, or for example, let's use the instance of the flood happening in Nigeria, right? So, for example, in Lokoja, these guys are faced with a lot of flood issues. Now, the kind of health issues that they might be having there might be around malaria, yeah, because stagnant water brings about mosquitoes, right? They might be having issues with maybe cholera, right, because their water might have been infected, right? So we understand, we try to ask, we do this maybe through focus group discussions, through research, through asking of questions, right? And while doing this, we're going to be working with partners, existing civil society organizations, CBOs, right, existing in that community, to understand what the needs are before we just go ahead to carry out any project. And lastly, we'll support the needs of the community, through maybe provision of um, uh, um, materials. It could be mosquito nets, right? It could be medication, right? So as much as possible, we're going to be working with organizations who can, work with us to support the needs of community through all of these provisions. All right. So is there a question? Please, like I said, kindly use the chat box if you have a question, right? And if you cannot hear me, it's okay for you to tell me. So you just unmute yourself and tell me that you cannot hear me. Okay, so Miss Chidera, if at any point you stop hearing me, right, just for the sake of those connecting live on YouTube, please inform me and I will make sure that everyone can hear me. Okay? So I just want to confirm, can you all hear me? Can someone unmute and tell me that they can hear me?
Can hear you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. The next area is education, right? So with education, we try to provide financial aid, that will support children who are in school and out of school. We'll also provide learning supplies, to these children, right? Because they're saying if you're gonna pay the fees, the tuition for kids to be in school, you should also think about what they would use to learn, right? So we're going to try to provide learning supplies, so textbooks, notebooks, writing materials, whatever it is, maybe bags, right? We'll do our best. We might not meet the needs of everyone, but we're going to continue to take baby steps, right? We're going to continue to take baby steps to achieve, the very bigger picture. Also, we're going to support and advocate for policies that would help to improve the quality of education of all kids. So in every community we find ourselves, we're going to relate with, both the local and state, representatives, and just try to see, what policies are in place and how this can favor, the quality of education of children. We all say that children are the future, or the future leaders of tomorrow. So we want to ensure that that statement is not defeated by the policies that are in place, and the things that that can affect the effectiveness of these kids when they become so-called leaders of tomorrow. Yes, and then finally we have livelihood, right? So it's just pretty straightforward. Donation of food and relief items, right? So visiting orphanages, visiting communities, visiting, IDP camps, and just visiting homes to donate food and relief items, right? Next is women empowerment, right? So we know that women have been they've been over time, our society, you know, we have overlooked the value and contribution of women, right? So you would notice that in some communities or in some countries, men are regarded as the head of the home. Men are regarded as the provider of the home, but ideally that shouldn't be so. If we are trying to if we are preaching equality, right, we should also understand that men and women should be regarded as equal, both at the community level, at the systemic level, and even in the family. right? When I say equal, I mean, women should also be given a chance to contribute, both mentally and financially, right? Sometimes, because the man is one providing for the home, for if something happens to the man, right? If God forbid the father or the provider of the home dies, the woman is left with nothing. Her life is paused. She cannot provide for herself or for her children. But when a woman is empowered, she's able to make decisions for herself. She's able to make informed decisions for her children and for her family and even for the community, right? So we are, passionate about empowering women so that they can continue to contribute to the community that they are in. We also have skills development, right? So we want to equip, people, individuals with skills, that they can use to be self-reliant. We don't want anyone to continue to depend on anyone. Depending on someone is not very healthy. I'm sure many of you would know that, right? So depending on someone, to be able to feed yourself, it is not good. So as much as possible, want people to be able to support themselves financially. Also, we're going to try to provide financial support to businesses. So how we do this is, sometimes we put out a call, for people who have business ideas, both new businesses and existing businesses. Tell us what it is, and what we do is we try to provide financial support, no matter how little it is. Believe that if utilized very well, it will go a long way. And also agriculture. Agriculture has been one of the biggest economy economy building sector, right? Some people try sometimes neglect the big contribution of agriculture, and understand that if agriculture is really considered in every community or in every country, there is food, of course, with agriculture, right? There is job creation with agriculture. So agriculture covers a lot of areas, and of course people are able to fend for themselves if we support agricultural farming and all that. All right, so these are the three focus areas that we have at Hope for Hopeless Initiative, and I hope everyone understands these areas. So we have come to the end of this meeting. The plan was not to waste yours time. We know that as time go on, we will continue to relate. We'll collect all your details, right? And at every now and then we're going to be having projects in different countries, so we want to ensure that we have volunteers in different communities in different countries, and ensure that they are ready and available for whatever project that we're going to be carrying out in these places. Okay, so just for those that did not join us at the beginning, this is Hope for Hopeless Initiative, and this is our volunteers orientation program. Hope for Hopeless Initiative was founded, in Cameroon, in Bamenda, Cameroon, in 2021, and since then we have carried out a lot of projects through the help of volunteers who are residing in Cameroon. We have a lot of them in Cameroon currently who are residing in Cameroon, right? And they have been part of the organization since then, since inception. Okay, so please, this is the point. If you have any questions, please, this is the opportunity for you all to ask your question. And I think I've been speaking for too long, so I'm going to stop talking and allow you all ask your questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. We can unmute and ask a question, but please, let's try as much as possible not to talk over somebody else. And the question could come from any angle, even if it's not part of what Mr. Victor has touched, but it has to be about giving, about charity organization, about Hope for Hopeless Initiative. So we could bring our questions from any angle, from what Mr. Victor has said and from what he had not said. So please, can somebody just indicate yourself or unmute and go ahead with your question? Thank you.
And it's totally okay if you don't have any question right now. If you continue to maybe visit our website, if you continue to get acquainted with our programs, I'm very sure that you would have questions, right? So, like I said, we're gonna collate your info and we're gonna reach out to you, individually. Okay. So, if you do not have questions, like I said, that is totally fine. But we are still waiting for questions. Sometimes silence is golden. Okay, so we're gonna wait for a little while we, encourage you to ask whatever it is that you want to ask. This is the opportunity for you to ask that question.
Mr. Victor, I have a question actually.
Yes, please go ahead.
For volunteers outside Cameroon or outside Africa, how can they partner, or how can they be a part of the project, especially for the ones that, okay, say for example, we have a volunteer in a particular community and he or she sees what's going on in their community and wants us to do something about it. How can the volunteer reach out to us now, not just as a volunteer, but say for example as a partner, because there's something going on in my community and I want my organization, that's the organization I volunteer with, to come and do something about it? How do I go about it in this case?
All right, so that's a very interesting question. First, it's important that you identify with us as a volunteer, which is good, meaning that we are going to be working together, right? We would have all your details. You're going to have our details, of course. That's the details of the executive managers and also the organizational email, so you can always contact us regardless of where you are in the world. So you have, easy contact with the organization. So you're going to be provided with both our email addresses and our WhatsApp numbers so that you can reach us whenever you need to reach us. So if at any point any of our volunteers, wherever you are in the world, identify a health need, what, or it doesn't even have to be a health need, you identify something that is prevalent and that you want to impact positively in your community, all you have to do is reach out to us through the organization email, which is info@h4hinitiative.org, right? You can reach out to us there, and we could set up a meeting and talk about it. Like I said, we are very inclusive, right? We are diverse. We would appreciate whatever contribution, whatever suggestion that you may have, and it is going to be very encouraged that you are able to identify a problem or an issue in your community and you want to do something about it. So please reach out to us whenever you want to. My colleague is going to drop many of our details right on the chat. So please, Mrs. Chidera, if you can put our official email, which is info@h4hinitiative.org, on the chat so that everyone has access to it, right? Or if you're in Cameroon, we have our program manager. His name is Mr. Leslie Mauer. He's in Cameroon, right? So you can also reach out to him on elmawa@h4hinitiative.org, right? LMAWA, right, at h4hinitiative.org. My official email is vinzenwaoji@h4hinitiative.org. And Mrs. Chidera's official email is djimp@h4hinitiative.org. Please reach out to us, with all your concerns, with all the questions, and with how you want us to, be a part of the project that you want to, see happen in your community. I hope that was able to answer your question, Ms. Chidera.
Yes, sir, you have answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, like I said, we would not want to waste your precious time. We understand that you all might be very busy, right? So please encourage your friends who might be interested. They could watch this particular recording on YouTube. It's live on YouTube, so you could go there and watch it again, just to understand who we are as an organization. Okay. Um, we have a webinar coming up next week, Friday. It's going to be the second part of our sexual abuse, series, and this one is tagged child sexual abuse, right? I think it was sometime in September. We had a webinar and we spoke a lot about sexual abuse, including sexual assaults, including stalking. We talked about consent within a relationship. It was a very, very insightful session. And this time we're going to have Dr. Michael Wamfo. He was present in the last webinar and he's going to be present in this webinar, right? And there's a lot that we need to know about child sexual abuse. It encompasses, it's not just, what we think, is, say, when someone forcefully takes advantage of a child. There's a lot we need to understand about this, right? So please avail yourself next week, Friday. I think that's the 28th of October. Next week, Friday is the date for the child sexual abuse webinar. Okay? And it's also going to be on StreamYard. Please make yourselves available. Join. If you need to register, please register. Please register for that webinar, and trust me, you will not regret it. Okay, so please reach out to us. We are going to reach out to you to collect all your information. We're going to reach out to you to collect all your information. Please, we appreciate you, willing to volunteer with H4H initiative. It means that you are passionate about giving back to the community. So we would give a minute for any question. We'll wait for an additional minute for any question. If you have any question, please, we have just 1 minute to, collect this question. We need to, wrap up this session. If you have any question, use this opportunity to ask your question. Thank you. And sorry, for the webinar next week, you can email us at info@h4hinitiative.org, and we will send you both the registration link and also the webinar link. Okay, so when you send us a message, when you register, afterwards you would receive the link to the webinar. So reach out to us, and you can also watch the webinar live on YouTube too, because it's going to be streaming live also on YouTube. Okay, so please reach out to us, and like I said, it promises to be a very interesting session next week. So please ask your questions with this opportunity. We'll wait for 1 more minute, and afterwards we will call it a wrap. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Victor. We'll still keep waiting for 1 more minute, like you said. But while we're waiting, in order to round up, thank you all for joining this webinar, this meet and greet with volunteers webinar. Of course, it's not going to be the first one. I figured a lot of people are having issues with their network in their various countries or locations. I've been online chatting with people who have issues logging in, or some people who can't even access YouTube, which is really weird. So it's obvious that it's their network. But thank you so much for joining. And like Mr. Victor has mentioned, we'll be having the child sexual abuse webinar next week. The first edition was on the 23rd of September, which was last month. We spoke about sexual abuse. Now we touched the 3 major ends of sexual abuse. We spoke about rape, we spoke about stalking, we spoke about child sexual abuse, and this time around, due to popular demand, we'll be talking about child sexual abuse. I mean, child sexual abuse is something even we as adults, some of us, I don't like generalizing, has gone through this abuse, and even some people have gone through abuse without noticing or without figuring it out that this is abuse. Some people have been abused without knowing that they've been abused. Some people have been abused and been told that the one at fault based on how they dressed or how they work. But at this point, we need to let people know that you can't blame yourself for an assault or an abuse. It is not your fault. Your consent wasn't given. I mean, some of these people are victims that literally know nothing, and they just get abused, and you be told, oh, if you tell anybody, I'll kill you, or you get threatened by people, by your abuser. And it is already confirmed that 93% of people, be it kids, adults, young people in general, are being abused by relatives, because there's a myth that goes on around that abusers are mostly strangers. But due to research has shown and confirmed that most people, 93% of people that get abused are by relatives, by family members, by people that are familiar with them. So please, let's endeavor to register for this webinar, because it's going to be a very insightful and educative one. Like Mr. Victor has said, we should click on the link below. I dropped the link below for the YouTube link. It's also scrolling down right now. The child sexual abuse webinar, date 28/10/2022. The YouTube link is there. And you can also send us an email, h4hinitiative.org, to register, so we could get your information and send you the main link to come into the studio, or if you want to be a part of it via YouTube. And now, one of the reasons why we always use this platform is because we like to record all our projects, especially the ones online, so people that missed it, or people that want to send to their children or their nieces, nephews, relatives to watch, could always have something to watch, and also questions to send to us. And again, we do follow-ups, psychotherapy, psychotherapy. If you have any question and you're too scared to join the live or to talk about it on the live, don't forget to send us an email, and we'll be here to talk to you. I mean, they say a problem shared is a problem half solved. So if we have our professionals who are sexual abuse professionals talk to you, guide you, of course, I believe we'll be healing a lot of people, and would reach out to the world. We always say we'll start with the small baby steps, and we'll get there eventually. So yeah, I think there's some messages coming in. Let me go through it and read it out. Or if you feel you want to talk, ask your question via talking, just unmute yourself and kindly do me the honor. Thank you. Okay, so at this point, there's no question. So let me just read out what my colleague has already dropped. So to email the initiative, you just go email info@h4hinitiative.org. To email me directly, Miss Chidera Jimp, you can email me at djimp@h4hinitiative.org. To email Mr. Victor, which is our lovely speaker today, you can email him at vnzenwa@h4hinitiative.org. The program manager in Cameroon, you can email him at something Mawa, I Mawa at H4OL Mawa at h4hinitiative.org. And you can also visit our organization, our physical office in Bamenda, Cameroon. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said again, this is not just going to be the first or the last meeting with volunteers, because today I could see that we have volunteers from Cameroon, we have from Nigeria, different parts of Nigeria. We have someone here from Kwara, we have from Benue, we also have from Lagos. So I really appreciate you all joining, and we hope to see you next week Friday. Please take notes. Next week Friday, you can take a screenshot of all these emails right here so you don't miss them. And again, you can also take a screenshot of the dates for the sexual abuse webinar. Thank you all for joining, and I hope and pray that we get to work with you people as time goes on. Mr. Victor, that's my last speech. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
No. I don't have anything else to say. I just want to encourage us to please register for the webinar next week. And then please stay in touch with H4H Initiative on all our social media platforms, right? Visit us on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on on our LinkedIn account. Okay. If you want to, I don't know if my colleague can put up uh, our IG handle. If you have it, please can you just put it in the chat, also in the comment section for YouTube, for our YouTube viewers, so that everyone can visit and connect with us on our social media platforms. All right. So it is, yeah, H4H underscore initiative on Instagram. On Facebook, I think it is Hope for Hopeless Initiative, if I'm correct, Miss Chidera.
Yes, you are, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. It is Hope for Hopeless Initiative on Instagram. It is Hope for Hopeless Initiative also on LinkedIn, right?
And also on Facebook.
And also on Facebook, Hope for Hopeless Initiative. So please connect with us on all our social media platforms. And yeah, for more updates about the webinar, please visit those platforms and you'll get more information about them. So thank you all for coming out today. We would continue to update you on on new updates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, have a good day. Take care,
Have a good
everyone.
day. Thank you.
Bye.